So I've quite literally helped to build almost 100 offers now, either for myself or for my clients. And I have a pretty good idea of what offers actually work and which ones just do not. And I understand why this is the case. And this is something that a lot of people talk about, but I don't think really gets broken down in a way that helps a lot of people to understand it, because I see time and time again people making the same mistakes around actually creating an offer and value propositioning your service into something that actually makes sense, so people quickly understand what it actually is that they're getting from your service. Now, before I go through that in this video, first of all, if you don't know who I am, my name is Ben Lister, and I help agency owners, business owners by documenting all my learnings, all the things that I find out on this YouTube channel, which currently help me to make about multi-six figures per year. So the first thing that a lot of people say is like the classic phrase is like sell the holiday, not the flight ticket, right? And what that means is when you are creating an offer and you're talking about your service, you're going to focus on the results, right? What comes from your service. If you do Facebook advertising, for example, you can say, yes, we generate leads and we generate, whatever it is, but you don't really want to talk about what that actual specific service is. You don't want to say, we're going to do you the best creative in the world, our copywriting is amazing, all this kind of stuff, because at the end of the day, all of that points back to more leads, more appointments, more revenue for the business, right? So your offer needs to tie around what that result is. Now, the way that I can best explain it, and the way that it makes sense from a sort of a generic standpoint where, maybe someone in the general public would understand this, is when you're in school and you are writing essays or you're making a point about a certain thing, there's a technique that was used in a lot of schools, and the way that I was taught was through point, evidence, and explanation, right? So let's say the point is, we do Facebook adverts, right? Or we could get you more leads through Facebook advertising, right? The evidence might be because we have the best copywriting, because we have the best creative, whatever it is that your service does, right? This is the thing that you think that this is why our service is good, right? And then the explanation is why this is actually important. So the reason that you want to have better copywriting so we can get you more leads is so that obviously you can get more appointments and you can generate more business, which means that you can ultimately do the things that you want to do, like retire, like, have financial freedom, whatever it may be, right? And so that's the explanation. Now, in a school sense, if you're writing an essay, you want that explanation to come at the very end, right? You want to obviously build up your point and say, this is why I think it is, give some evidence, and then you explain, ultimately what this leads to. But in a business context, and especially because when you're doing outreach, oftentimes you have such a short amount of time to actually reach the person that you are, the person that you're reaching out to has such a short amount of time to actually read this, because they, oftentimes they just skim read an email or a social media message. We want to start with the explanation. So we almost want to spin this around, 180 degrees, and we go evidence, and then we explain why that is, and then we say the points, right? So you would want to lead effectively with the thing of why this is important. So if I'm running Facebook ads and we have the best copywriting in the world, we have a specific way to do this. Maybe our copywriting is done with AI, right? That's our service, AI copywriting with Facebook ads, okay? Now, I'm not going to turn around and say, hey, we can do your Facebook ads with AI, because that doesn't matter. All that matters in the end is that you can actually get the result that the leads want, which is leads, which is appointments, which is more business. And so instead, I'm going to turn that around and I'm going to say, we can get you 10 to 20% more leads with our, Facebook AI system, right? And even better, you probably don't even have to include that until the sales call point, until you say, until you get them on a call, and then you can explain the service in much more detail. Because if the service has a little bit of complexity, which virtually everyone's service does, because there's always something which differentiates you, this is going to take multiple, PowerPoint slides or minutes to go through on a call and explain why this is so important and what the specifics of it is, right? So you just want to make sure that you're focusing on the actual thing that they're going to be caring about in the end, which is more leads, right? It doesn't matter if your service uses AI, if it's, you're the only one using it, right? If the service is absolutely terrible, because at the end of the day, the business owner is going to make a decision on whether to work with you or not, obviously after the first month. If you have kept your promise, if you've given them leads, if you've given them business, it doesn't matter if you did keep your promises on creating an AI copywriting if it got 0 leads, right? Because at the end of the day, that's all they care about. And it doesn't matter if you say, you know what, we're not going to do the Facebook AI stuff anymore. Now we're going to move to Google ads and we're going to do something else. But it's going to mean we're going to get you twice as many leads, right? Every business owner would snap your hands off for that. They would say, okay, I'm going to get more leads for the same price. It's a different service. I don't really care about the service because you're doing it for me anyway. So it doesn't really matter the way that this happens. I just need to make sure I get leads. And so they would take that, right? So at the end of the day, if you can just switch out the service and they would still be happy with that, especially if there's more leads, then it almost makes it seem like the service that you're selling and the specifics of those service is pretty pointless, right? Every time that I get a prospect on the phone to me and we're talking about certain things, the questions are not about, so tell me, how does the email deliverability work, right? How do we make sure that we actually land in the inbox? No, they say, well, how can you guarantee that we get you a certain number of appointments, certain number of leads, or anything like that? How are you going to make sure that you make sure that our reputation is intact? You don't just sort of do anything that's unethical. So they're asking questions specifically about that. But ultimately, what they're asking about is their reputation, their leads, their appointments. They're not asking about specifics of how we actually create email accounts or what the email copy specifically looks like, or if we use AI or not. They care about the actual result of the service, which is more leads, more appointments, keeping their reputation intact, making sure that we're not using like spammy methods or anything like that. And so when you're building your offer out, you need to go one step further. It's so surface level to say that we do Facebook ads and we do this, we do that, and we do nothing, we do nothing, we do nothing. But ultimately, it's all just saying the same stuff as we will get you more leads, we will get you more appointments, or we will get you more views on YouTube. Whatever it is, the thing that you're selling and that the result comes from that service, that's what you should focus on. Now, one thing that I see is people who create a VSL, for example, might have a really long video going through very specific parts of their service and, talking through some very specific things. And I've seen people with like 45-minute VSL videos, right? And I understand sometimes where that can come from, simply because if you are sending someone to a landing page or they've like clicked through, oftentimes they're going to see a shortened version of your offer, which is going to be results focused, right? We can get you 10 appointments per month. Click on this link to find out more. And then we've got them, right? So now we've got someone who's actually interested in getting appointments. And so we can spend quite a lot of time on a VSL walking them through a bit of a demo, and then obviously the sales call would probably be questions about that demo, right? Obviously, if they haven't gone through if they've gone through the whole video. But in a circumstance where you are sending out cold emails, you are sending out social media messages, you are cold calling people, what's going to start to happen is if you spend any longer than 20 seconds of their time, either having them read through your cold email or having them listen to you on a phone call or anything like that, they are going to instantly shut off unless you're talking about things that they actually care about. So I've got a client at the moment and they have a service which is very unique. I don't really fully understand it, but it's around like geo-targeting, and it's around making sure that you're targeting people in a very, very specific area, right? And this is all well and good, but if someone tried to explain that to me, and said that why this could be good for my business, for example, and said, I have this new thing, it's called like geo-targeting, we're going to do this, we're going to do that. It's going to take at least 2, if not 3 minutes to actually fully explain that. And by the time someone has got 30 seconds into it, you're going to be switched off thinking, this actually isn't for me, I don't think this is for me. You might just interrupt them and say, hey, listen, I don't think this is right, I'm pretty busy. But if you come out and say, hey, I can get you 20% more leads guaranteed in the next 30 days, like that's going to raise some eyebrows, right? That's going to get, okay, hold on, how'd you do this? Well, it takes a bit of time to explain, but we can jump on a quick phone call, tomorrow if you're free. Sure. That's how it works, right? And then you can go into the details and you can just say point blank, like, this is what you're going to get from it. You're going to get 20% more leads every single month. We've done this a million times before. We can guarantee it. It doesn't cost, $10,000 to implement. Whatever it may be, right? Now you have an offer in place. Whereas if you're talking about the specifics of this service, if you're saying, oh, we're going to do this and we're going to do that, and then there's this part, and then there's also this part, and don't forget there's another part to it as well. That's when you're going to lose people. That's when people aren't going to be interested. And especially in the mediums that a lot of you guys are going to be reaching out to people, which will be email, social media, cold calling, things like that. You need to be super concise. Now, if you're coming from an inbound perspective, of course, you can have the time to do that, 4 to 5 minute VSL. If someone's going to jump on a landing page, if someone's going to see a landing page that you've created and they've gone through a channel and they've done it themselves and you haven't specifically reached out to them, then that makes sense, right? But there's no way you're going to cold email someone and say, we can give you 20% more leads, and then you're going to send them a 45-minute VSL and they'll watch the whole thing. Like, it's not happening. So even in a situation like that, you probably need to put it onto a sales call. So yeah, this is the way that I think about offers. This is the way that I've seen it a million times before. All the client campaigns that we run that are very, very results focused, and we just solely talk about, we can get you this many leads, this many appointments, we can give you this specific, we can get you to 10,000 YouTube subscribers, right? Whatever it may be. And then we give a reason why that is, not related to the service, but related to our expertise, based on our experience, based on our guarantees, all that kind of stuff. Those are the campaigns that do really well. Those are the offers that do really well. And a lot of people say this, and it's very, very true, but the offer really is the king. We have a very good offer in our company right now. And when we send out cold emails, we literally have people like queuing up. Like, we never, ever, ever have slots available. we send out like 50 emails a day, and we literally book like 2 or 3 calls every single day, just from cold email alone, and we barely send out any. So yeah, if you have a good offer, it literally trumps anything else. It beats copywriting, it beats automations, it beats hiring, all this kind of stuff. If you have a good offer, everything else in your business just kind of falls into place, and it makes it a lot easier to do like everything else in your business. So yeah, if you build an offer like this, you're going to make a lot of money, you're going to sign a lot of clients, you're going to have a lot of appointments, and everything else in the business will be pretty much a lot easier. But yeah, if you're looking for more clients for your agency, first link in the description. I'm not selling some kind of like email opt-in, phone number opt-in, anything like that. There's no free training, there's literally nothing like that. It's just a video of me explaining what my company does, why it works. It's not a 45-minute VSL, but yeah, you don't have to click it, of course. I don't really care if you do or not. But yeah, if you like the video, like, comment, subscribe, all that fun stuff, and I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.